Hello, Intro to Desktop Publishing students. This is a tutorial about how to draw a logo from a sketch in Adobe Illustrator. The first thing you'll do is open up Adobe Illustrator. Your screen will look a little bit differently, but you'll click on the Start button. You can type in ILL, hit Enter, and Adobe Illustrator should start to load up. It'll take just a moment. So you should see a screen that looks something like this. This is just the program open, but we don't have any document that we can work on. So if you click on File and New, it'll bring up a box that asks you for some questions. I'm going to call it Logo. You can insert your name there. Number of artboards is 1, that's fine. We're going to use pixels as our unit, and it's going to be 1,000 wide and 1,000 tall. Okay, so I'll click OK, and I should have a nice clean white artboard to work on. So what I'm going to do is click Minimize so I can see my desktop. I have a logo here on the desktop that I'm going to use, or a sketch, excuse me, that I'm going to use. Looks like this, and we're going to sketch it in Adobe Illustrator. So what I can do is click and drag this, and while not letting go, then I can copy it onto the artboard. So it's going to be pretty big, the picture that you upload into here. So I'm going to go to File, View, and zoom out. As you can see here, the shortcut is Control and minus. So I'm going to Control minus so we can see this in full. I can use the selection tool, hover over one of these white handles, and I'm going to make it smaller. Now it's important to see that I can kind of squish the image if I'm not careful, just like that. But what I can do is hold down the Shift key to make sure the image does not get squished. Okay, so it keeps its proportions the same. So now it's about the right size. I'm going to zoom back in. There are a couple ways I can do that. I can hit Control and plus, or what I want to do is fit the artboard in the window, so I can hit Control 0 or click Fit Artboard in Window. Now we have our artboard, and the image is the exact size that we want to work with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is make this image a little bit more transparent because we are trying to trace it. Okay, so there should be an option called transparency, excuse me, and then we can click on opacity. I'm going to go down to 20% so you can barely see the logo in the background. Okay, so we don't want to accidentally pick this up and move it like that. So what I want to do is lock this in place. So I can use the selection tool, the black arrow, click on the image, and now it's highlighted blue all the way around. So what I can do is hit Object, Lock, and Selection, or the shortcut is Control and 2. So I'll click that, and now I can't pick up the image and drag it, even if I wanted to. Alright. So for Illustrator, we want to work in shapes the best, or as often as we can. So there are no rectangles in our shape, but we do have some circles in there. So I'm going to use the ellipse tool to draw these grapes. So when you use the ellipse tool, I can click and drag a circle any shape I want. But if I want to make sure it's a perfect circle, I can start in the middle, hold down Alt and Shift at the same time, and the circle will expand from where you initially started to draw. So I'm going to let go of that. Now I have one grape, but I want many grapes. So I could move this around wherever I wanted to, but I want it in a specific place and I want a copy of it. So as you're moving it around, if you click the Alt key, as you can see by the black selection arrow, every time I press the Alt key, a white arrow comes up. That means I'm going to make a copy of it. So I'm holding down Alt, I let go, and now I have a copy. So I'm going to do that a few times. Copy all my grapes. There we go. There we go. There's another grape, another grape, another grape. So now I have my grapes. All right. Next thing we need to do is try to trace this Q. Okay. It's going to look a little bit like a circle, so I'm going to start with the circle. I'm going to drag it in there. But now we have this little extra part that makes it a Q. Okay. In order to do that, it almost looks like a rectangle. So I'm going to make a rectangle right here. Looks good right about there. And now what I can do is rotate the rectangle. I'm going to click the selection tool, and if you hover over these handles just outside, you can see the rotate tool. So that looks about good. I'm going to drag it right into here, and now it almost looks like a Q.